Coming up on Techzilla, does your HDTV need a yellow pixel? Get some VoIP hardware and move your business to the tropics, partitioning your data drive optically correct 3D glasses, and the new releases on Blu-ray for November 30th, 2010. So grab the last of the leftover turkey and get your sandwich on, because Techzilla starts now. This episode of Techzilla is made possible by Nokia, Rundown Creator, and Squarespace. I'm Patrick Norton.
And I'm Robert Heron.
Welcome to Techzilla, hands-on reviews of the latest tech and how to make the most out of the gear you've already got.
Hey, whether you're a beginner or tech support for your friends and family, if you've got a question about tech, or the best place to get your Zen on in Zion National Park, we've got an answer for you.
And if we don't, we'll track down somebody who does. Hey, I gotta say happy Thanksgiving to everybody in the audience. I hope you had a most excellent Thanksgiving Day. We're actually shooting this like 2 weeks in advance of Thanksgiving Day, so our video editors could, be home with their families on Thanksgiving instead of getting their Final Cut Pro on in a cold, empty, unheated office, which basically means no news.
Aww.
So do yourself a favor, hit pause, head on over to techmeme.com and email us your favorites. Seriously, it'll make for fun reading when we get back to the office.
Hey, why are you wearing sunglasses? They do look cool.
Au contraire, dude. I'm not wearing sunglasses.
No?
I'm wearing the world's first optically correct 3D glasses. The Oakley 3D gas can, which oddly enough is the same frame I normally wear in real life, except mine are white, these are black.
Right.
And these have polarized lenses. Well, actually, mine have polarized lenses that keep my retinas from frying, and these have optically correct passive polarization lenses designed to work with 3D movies.
Cool deal.
Yeah.
Now, let me be the first to point out that that type of polarized glasses are designed for movie theater technology, like Real D, and not the active polarization technology, the electronic liquid crystal shutter glasses that you would use for your 3D TVs at home. So your spiffy glasses really would only work in the theater, and they are less goofy, I would have to say, than most of the 3D glasses I see out there. Like, these happen to be Samsung's 3D shutter glasses that I'll be using to review the new Samsung 8000 series HD TV.
When you put those glasses on, you totally look like a character from The Watchmen.
Do I?
Yeah.
I got 2 lenses now. Dual lensed.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, by the way, the 8000 looks gorgeous. I want Samsung's 8000. I think it's like 8000 versus VT25, Panasonic VT25.
Either one of those is, for visual image quality, the best of breed of 2 technologies, plasma and LCD.
Yeah, was wondering if Oakley was planning on selling giant heaps of these to the people thronging to see Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1, which, by the way, will not be in 3D. Then I saw the special $150 limited edition Tron version, which you can see on your screen right now. $150 from Oakley, $258 on eBay. Shop around.
What does the regular version cost?
Like $120.
Okay.
I don't know if, it's kind of funny. Like, my mom is, I've not been allowed to wear cheap sunglasses since I was small. Like, if I went near the cheap sunglass rack, the
That's some weak science there, but
grocery store. Well, yeah.
I've owned my share of expensive sunglasses too,
but it's interesting, right? There's no astigmatism issues on these. There's no wobbling. It's a nice piece of glass. It's their high definition optics. I mean, I like Oakley's lenses.
You know what? For video purists out there who have a couple of bucks to spend, that'd be a nice way just to ensure that they're getting hopefully the best quality possible out of their 3D theater experience. You mentioned an optically perfect lens, and I'm thinking, well, I do happen to have a little wobble in one of my lenses, or a little ripple I've noticed at the top edge. So
I'm not seeing any ripple in these, and supposedly
I would hope so.
the color fidelity in these is supposed to be better than the ones in the theater. But something to think about if you're into the 3D theater experience and the glasses make your eyeballs hurt because those cheap ass glasses they give you in the theater. Oakley will happily sell you a pair of the gas can 3Ds for $120.
Think it's worth it for you? Would you do it? Do you see 3D? Do you go to 3D movies in the theater?
I haven't seen a movie in the theater since my son was born. Yeah. That's why I have the massive home theater. That's why I started HD Nation, so I could replicate the theater experience at home without the pissed off 14-year-old breaking up with his girlfriend in the row in front of me. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Terrence.
Take them off, man. Let's just go.
Yeah. Anyhow, let's step away from the 3D.
Let us do it. We've done enough. Hey, let's help Keanu escape the vicious cold in Waterloo, Canada. He writes, "Hello, Techzilla crew. Can you recommend a hardware voice-over IP product that I can take with me to our condo in Costa Rica? I want to see that condo. I need to call clients worldwide, but mostly in the United States. I use GoToMeeting for all the time for client presentations, and I love it. The VoIP product needs to be computer independent, i.e. no Magic Jack. In addition, do you have any recommendations on a good laptop that I will use as my remote office? If this works out, my dream to escape the cold winters in Canada for a month or two each year while working remotely might become a reality. Signed, Keanu in Waterloo, Canada. It's a shame you can't get the Magic Jack love on. People seem to love that product.
They love those things.
But it does require a computer, though.
Yeah.
This has to be PC-free or computer-free.
I like that thought. Well, here, Costa Rica uses the same plugs and voltages as the Canada and the U.S. I don't know how I got that into my head. So that's one problem out of the way. You don't have to worry about voltage conversions. The other big question is the quality of your broadband. If it's as good as the surf in Costa Rica, you're golden. If you're near the beach, feel free to invite the entire Tekzilla crew to visit because we'll come to hang in your house. If you want to get your geek on, you can build your own Asterisk box. It's an open source telephony system. There's a really great guide for that. How to build Asterisk appliances on the cheap at smallnetbuilder.com. Or you can look for a pre-built Asterisk box like the Jazinga, which is going to be probably, I'm guessing, around $600 these days. If you have better things to do than get your phone freak on, Mr. Heron.
One product I've seen floating around in your local big box stores is a product called Ooma, O-O-M-A. It's a voice over IP system that you can pretty much use it anywhere you've got high-speed internet connection, basically being high-speed broadband, no dial-up. They'll charge you $40 to move your phone number over. Otherwise, you can use the number they provide you for free. Ooma costs $250 or $300 if you want a handset with that included. You also get unlimited calls. Well, you get unlimited calls in the United States, even if you're calling into the United States from outside of the United States, like Costa Rica. But you do pick up the tab for any taxes and fees, and we're assuming they'll ship that to Canada.
Yeah, I don't
you can buy it online, and I have to say my own. Well, our accountant uses the product and absolutely loves it. It saves a lot of money, and it seems to be a solid product, and it uses a regular handset like you're looking for.
And last I checked the international rates for that, if you're calling places outside of the United States or had to call home to Canada, we're not too vicious. You got a favorite VoIP hardware product to help get Kino out of the cold? Email us, tekzilla@revision3.com. Let's get Kino to Costa. Do you need a fourth pixel to bring HDTV into the 21st century, or is it just a weak hack to deal with 3D dimming? Get the scoop on Sharp's Quattron, and if it's worth your hard-earned cash. Let's take a moment to thank one of our sponsors, Nokia. You want a chance to win a new phone? How about $250,000? Nokia and AT&T have launched the $10 million Calling All Innovators North America contest, challenging mobile app and game developers to create the next level of apps for consumers in the US and Canada for the Nokia N8 and OV store using the new Nokia Qt SDK. The contest will have 2 phases, and winners will be selected by app performance in the OV store and a panel of judges. Winners will receive Nokia devices, cash prizes up to $250,000, and potentially even inclusion in a $1.9 million marketing campaign for their app. The OV store has a bunch of Symbian apps and games available to improve your mobile experience, like ToonWiki and James Cameron's Avatar HD. Do you have an idea for a game or app for Symbian? Maybe you have an idea for a killer augmented reality app or another app that Symbian needs? Send them in to us at tekzilla@revision3.com, and we'll pick a few ideas to talk about in a future episode. The Nokia Qt SDK brings the popular Qt Creator IDE from the desktop and embedded worlds to mobile developers, enabling them to build native apps for Symbian 3 devices like the Nokia N8. Developers can submit their apps by January 28th to be involved, and thanks to Nokia for sponsoring the show today. Time to get our HD Nation on. Get a magnifying glass or a loop, or just press your face to the screen. If you look close enough, a magnifying glass really helps. You'll actually see red, green, and blue. The pixels, those are the 3 colors you need to make color video, whether you're working on an old janky 19-inch standard def television you got from mom, or a $3,000 30-inch computer monitor, or a 55-inch HD TV. Or is it? Sharp's added a yellow pixel to their latest LCD flat panel HDTVs. Mr. Heron, is the yellow pixel the Quattron technology? Is this like 21st century advancement for, like, moving pixels into the future, or is it marketing meh?
I would say mostly marketing meh. You do not suddenly need another pixel in order to create something that isn't part of the video signal to begin with.
Right.
Let's say that a properly tuned TV should be able to display all the colors that are within that video signal. Let alone there is an advantage, though. One advantage I can think of having something like an additional yellow pixel, like they have in the new Sharp TVs, and that's to simply put out more light. And for the new 3D TVs they have coming up, there might be an advantage there. But in the case of this baby, the 52-inch LC 52LE 820UN, the 820UN series you call it from Sharp, we're talking 120 hertz display technology, 52-inch screen size, 1080p resolution, internet-enabled features, all for about $1,600 online. This is edge-lit technology, LCD technology, which means it's pretty thin depth-wise. I'd say less than 2 inches, which is pretty nice. It also features that unique 4-color sub-pixel system that Pat just described. You know what? The slim depth is nice in this set too, and it includes a pretty slick-looking glass base stand. However, this connection on the
joint between the television. I can't decide if they did that because they felt it would like absorb shock in case your kid hucked a tennis ball at it, or if it's just a cheap joint.
There is some flexibility there, and at least it's flexing on the base stand itself.
No, there is some flexibility in the frame of my truck. This is well beyond some flexibility.
That is not the, I'd prefer if it didn't. It'd be nice if it were a little more rigid. However, it is a swivel stand as well, so you've got that full action, which is nice. Gives you a little extra options. If it were me, though, I'd be looking seriously at mounting this on a wall mount of some kind. Anyway, the quality and selection of applications on this TV, this is an internet-enabled TV. They call them widgets, is Sharp's term for it. It's nowhere close to the level of companies such as Samsung and Vizio that are providing, that they provide with their net-connected TVs. The widgets on this set, and I can even pop some of them up so you can take a look at it in the Aquos net. One press of the button gives you a, if I get the remote right, dun-dun-dun-dun, a little menu over here. Another press will expand it to half the screen. Let me pop that up. And then you get half video. And if I do it one more time, it'll go full screen.
Well, eventually you'll get half video.
Eventually. Well, as it fills up, as it's pulling from the net, the various items. I'll just say that the widgets overall, hopefully when it loads here, we'll see. The design overall appears that engineers did it, really, instead of usability experts. The browser controls, on-screen keyboard, some of the menu labels, and it all seems to lack a little graphical polish that you get from the other manufacturers I mentioned.
And speed.
There's almost a command line feel to some of this too in terms of how it works.
Right.
And overall, the widget content itself was, I have to say, a fairly poor quality and selection. One in particular, they include something I always like to see is like a screensaver type program where you can show off some artwork and stuff. I've seen this on other TVs and it looks really good.
Basically, you have a collection of your own pictures and it scrolls them and slides.
Well, this one actually has a program built into that'll pull famous artwork and other well-known images off the net.
Cool.
A nice supply of information. However, all of the photos and all of the imagery that they present on this TV are less than standard definition quality. It looked terrible. So it's a feature I wouldn't even bother using. However, if you hook up, like you mentioned, you hook up your own photographs with a USB key or through your network, that would look a lot better. It looks pretty good. Performance-wise, the 820UN's video processing prowess, solid. It was very good at de-interlacing video content, that's interlaced. Also, it was good at handling challenging video streams, like those that contain odd edits or transitions. You get that with some content that's been taken from cinema to TV. Color-wise, well, everything was oversaturated, which is great for grabbing your attention in the store, but not so great for producing an accurate video picture.
Is it was oversaturated because of the extra yellow pixel blowing out more light, or?
Everything except red measured oversaturated. There was too much. It was too colorful compared to how the original video should be represented. Okay. Now, some people actually prefer that look. They like to see punchy colors and things like that. Is it accurate video representation? No, and that's what I'm saying there. Yellow in particular was crazy. It was shifted a little too red. It was orangish, and when I used the TV's built-in controls, I found them to be completely ineffective at getting it anywhere close to where it should have been. Ooh. Now, the bottom line really is that I wouldn't complain if somebody gave me this TV for free, but for the video purists, myself included, I basically am telling myself to take that $1,600 and spend it elsewhere for technology that would suit you better. Especially for the whole internet connected TV thing / the price point. Yeah, I'm looking around. Especially, so I wanted better color controls. That's what I really wanted.
Color controls won't let you correct the color problems.
It's an every TV is going to be usually oversaturated in its default mode. But when I turn it to like its movie mode, or I turn it to, especially the movie mode, I expect that to be fairly close to standards. And it wasn't, and the controls didn't allow me to correct that the way I wanted to. I will say, however, that the controls did work fairly well for balancing red, blue, and green for the white balance.
Okay.
But that was about it. The main set of controls they gave you for color management in terms of desaturating or moving the point around, completely ineffective, and has been for a number of years.
Do you think Sharp went with the yellow pixel because they were having trouble getting their edge lighting bright enough to deal with 3D, or is it just something where they wanted to stand out from the crowd?
I'd say that's the number one reason, and it is an effective way to do it. If you put this TV in the store in its default mode next to other TVs, this TV shines. It's just like, wow, that grabs my attention like nothing else around it. However, once you sit down and you get in a controlled environment with a properly dialed in display, boom, things
Thumbs
change.
down, ladies and gentlemen. Thumbs down. I'm sorry, Sharp. Blu-ray releases?
Yeah, let's do it. Hey, it's time for the new Blu-ray releases for the week of November 30th, 2010. First up, The Wiz, a film adaptation of the 1975 Broadway retelling of The Wizard of Oz. The Wiz motion picture features a more contemporary urban setting with a distinctly Motown aesthetic, featuring Diana Ross, Michael Jackson, Lena Horne, and Richard Pryor. The picture quality is outstanding. The Blu-ray offers the cleanest and sharpest version of the movie available ever for home video. Although there are some issues with the muted color and infrequent picture softness, we chalk that up to camera direction and lighting rather than any real technical problems. The audio track was more of a mixed bag. While the audio fidelity is impeccable, the problem is with converting the original Dolby Stereo to a 5.1 mix. The practice of placing vocals in the center channels during some musical routines made for an awkward listening experience, and the uneven use of the rear channels was disappointing. Although the movie is less than memorable for its cinematography and script, it does make up for it with incredible musical numbers. Although there are plenty of motion picture takes on The Wizard of Oz, none save the MGM version can compete with The Wiz in musical talent. Next up, Meet the Parents. Ben Stiller teams up with the director of the Austin Powers films to bring you this awkward family comedy about meeting the in-laws. And when I say family comedy, that's because it's about family, not because it's suitable for the little ones, because it's not. Ben Stiller's usual off-color sense of humor really comes out here. And this time he has Robert De Niro, who actually was nominated for a Golden Globe for his performance, to play off of. And if you finish the movie and still want more, good news, because the sequel, Meet the Fockers, is being released this week as well. This one takes it further as both pairs of in-laws want to meet each other. So the extremely strict ex-CIA agent played by De Niro meets the hippie parents played by Barbra Streisand and Dustin Hoffman. And to round it out, both Meet the Parents and Meet the Fockers come with a $10 voucher to see Little Fockers in the theaters when it comes out on December 22nd. Also released this week, The Sorcerer's Apprentice. It's available either as a 2-disc Blu-ray DVD combo, or for $5 more you can get it as a 3-disc combo that includes a digital copy as well. From the creators of National Treasure, we've got Nicolas Cage as a modern-day sorcerer who takes on a protege and mentors him in the ways of the magical. While it's based on the Mickey Mouse sequence in the 1940 Disney film Fantasia, you wouldn't even know it except for one scene which frankly feels a bit forced. Speaking of Fantasia, that's also on our list of releases this week, Fantasia plus Fantasia 2000. Other releases include Going the Distance, Killzone, Night and Day as a 2-disc Blu-ray plus DVD holiday combo pack, or for $5 more, Night and Day 3-disc Blu-ray DVD digital copy combo pack. Space 1999, the complete Season 1, Vampires Suck, and starting December 1st, 2010, Avatar 3D is available exclusively bundled with Panasonic 3D HD TVs. And if you've already bought a Panasonic 3D TV, don't worry, you still qualify to get the disc as long as you have your receipt. Just mail it in and Panasonic will ship you a copy directly. Just look for the disc request form on the Panasonic website or check our show notes for the link.
Time to thank one of our sponsors, Rundown Creator. Rundown Creator is the TV rundown software we use here at Revision 3 to produce Techzilla. Rundown Creator lets you collaborate with others on TV rundowns and scripts, keep track of time, and even has a built-in auto-updating teleprompter. Best of all, the whole thing web-based, so it runs in your web browser, on your iPhone, iPod Touch, iPad, or Android device, or your PC, where we pretty much use it most of the time, except when we're using it on an iPad. In any case, work, home, on the go, it's ready for you. Plans start at just $34.99 a month, but they're so sure you're going to love it, they'll give you a free 2-week trial. All you have to do is go to rundowncreator.com/revision3 and click on the free trial button. It's good for us, it'll be good for you.
Hey, we got this question from John, who's curious about solid-state drives. He writes in, hey, I've been hearing a lot about using a small SSD solid-state drive to host your operating system and software in order to gain performance boosts. Would I notice a difference? Is it really worth doing? I'm not a gamer, and I use my PC primarily for graphics, photo, and video, i.e. Illustrator, Photoshop, Lightroom, Premiere Pro. I have a home-built rig, quad-core processor, and 8 gigs of RAM. How would I go about moving the OS and software over to a new SSD? Thanks in advance, never miss a show, and glad to hear we will be getting a double dose each week now. Signed, John in Atlanta, Georgia. Sweet.
Well, here's the thing, right? I actually was running an SSD drive for several months in this, and I recently went back to a regular rotating drive.
Did you cry?
I did not cry. I just got really frustrated, right? Because SSD drive, you open up the notebook and woof, it's like immediately wakes back up from suspend. It's even more dramatic because you can use hibernation under Windows instead of suspend, which means you get everything gets shut down and written to the drive. Your write speeds on an SSD are amazing, read and write speeds, compared to a rotating media drive. So you're going to notice boot up time's going to be, you go from like a minute to like 10 seconds for your boot up time. Resume from sleep speeds up. Application launch speeds up, virtual memory access and read speeds, they all benefit from solid-state drive technology, especially more modern operating systems like Windows 7s or the latest Windows kernels that support the SSD trim command. We're not going to get into the whole trim, performance degradation over time thing, but your scratch file, if you put that on the SSD, then all of a sudden, anytime you're moving stuff for your virtual memory, it gets much, much faster. And this is a really good thing. Or if you're writing huge files, and this gets kind of hard, right? Because you only have like, $100 to $200, you end up with like 40 to, I want to say 80, maybe 96 gigabyte drives. A lot of 80 gigabyte drives in there. The Intel just dropped the prices on their X25Ms. OCC's got some good drives under $200.
So not nearly as much storage for the price, but the speed increase.
No.
That's where your gain is.
Yeah, 2 terabytes for $150 or a nice 80 gigabyte SSD drive for $150.
Good deal. Now, I have to say the best way to get this SSD installed in a system, regardless of if it's new or old, do a fresh install of the operating system, complete with all the upgrades and updates. That way you get a clean OS without a lot of stuff, and the OS as it's being installed will optimize itself for the solid-state drive. Things like write cache, SSDs don't have cache, and defrag is also disabled too. Well, it should be disabled anyway if you're using NTFS, but that's a whole other issue. If you run Windows, though, you can try things like Laplank's PC Mover or an imaging app like Acronis TrueImage, but you'll need to tweak the drive settings after the fact. Now, for OS X, which doesn't support things like the trim command in solid-state drives, you can use Carbon Copy Cloner to move your drive over, or you can do a clean install of the OS on the solid-state drive and then use the migration tool to move stuff and your preferences over as well. However, regardless of which way you go with whatever operating system, the fresh install is usually the best way to go, and that's what we recommend.
Please.
Yeah.
Avoid bit rot.
That's why it's nice to have that operating system disk.
Yes.
Clean installs rock.
You don't want the restoration disk that installs all the original crapware?
There's usually the operating system in a folder that you can just take out and put on a USB key and boot from that, but that's a whole other topic. So.
And keeping up with the hard drive storage thing, we've got an email from Dan who writes in, I just bought a new 1 terabyte hard drive for media, so I thought I would set up 3 main directories, photos, music, and video. Sound reasonable? Would it be better to put these in separate partitions? Dan in Philly.
One solution, well, the best solution would be to keep the drive as just one logical partition.
Right.
Just one big drive with, say, 3 separate folders for doing your different multimedia types. Partitioning it out would result in 3 drive letters instead of just one. That's one thing to keep in mind. It might make it a little more.
C, D, E, or no, actually it'd be like EFJ or DEF.
Multiple drive letters either way.
Yeah.
But the real issue is the inflexibility of disk space. You'd basically limit each category, your photos, music, and video, to a set size.
I mean, yeah, with a single partition, basically the folders, if you have more photos than music, no problem, right? You don't have to worry about, I've got to go in and non-destructively resize my partition so I have more room for movies. You basically got a big giant dump, a space, a storage box, not 3 little storage boxes. I don't see any harm other than some slight storage overhead from having multiple partitions on a single drive. I just don't see a lot of advantage, except if you have one drive and you basically, when you want to keep things separate, and I've done this for years, right? I keep the operating system on its own partition while leaving everything else on a second partition. That way, if something happens to the OS install, my data is usually safe. That partition hasn't been touched, and I won't have to wipe out those files because they're on a separate partition. But if this drive is just for your media, I say leave it as one giant drive, put folders in there for your pictures, your movies, and your music, and just roll with that. Fewer partitions, more happiness.
Yes.
Yes. After the break, well, more of your questions. But first, let's thank one of our sponsors, Squarespace. Squarespace, it's hosting, it's tools to create amazing websites, It's pretty much a flexible tool that lets anybody create a blog, a portfolio, any kind of website. You want to do something commercial, you want to have a high volume, popular blog. Doesn't matter if you can't code your way out of a box. Squarespace has tools you can use to create a high-end, complex website that is uniquely your own without paying somebody the mad dollars to get their geek on for you. Don't worry if you come across any questions or issues. Squarespace offers every user 24/7 support. And if you are super geek and you want to get your code on, no problem, because they give you access under the hood too. If you haven't seen it, Squarespace's iPhone app is pretty slick. They recently updated it with a bunch of great new features. Full HTML blog editing on the go, comment moderation. You can get push notifications, so when you get comments, you can basically mark existing comments as spam. You can reply to comments, quite a bit more actually, all from inside of your iPhone. Very convenient. Many of the internet's highest traffic web pages are powered by Squarespace, not to mention many of the personal pages of Revision 3's hosts and personalities. Do yourself a favor, go to squarespace.com to learn more, and to do yourself a serious favor, enter in the code TechZilla when you check out. You'll get 10% off for the lifetime of your order. That's big savings, people, and you'll be supporting TechZilla in the process. John's holiday shopping for a loved one and send in this email. My 11-year-old sister does a lot of coloring and drawing as well as digital art on the computer using a regular mouse. She recently asked for a graphics tablet for Christmas and I'm not sure where to start. I'm looking for any recommendations that are suitable for someone of her age. It's got to be easy to use, under 200 bucks, i.e. affordable and compatible with Windows 7 and have good precision and pressure input. Got any ideas? John B. in Charlotte, North Carolina. Wacom.
Yeah.
I mean, does any other name come to mind when you think of tablets?
Not a one.
Yeah.
And they have a range of products too. I mean, they have some very expensive display integrated tablets that are amazing to use and
Watching
feel like
Bertman Roy when he's he's doing it like, I am making microscopic realistic art inside of Photoshop with my digital. He's amazing, right? But for 70 bucks, the entry-level bamboo pen from Wacom is pretty cool, and I think the top of the line bamboo, the bamboo fun is like 200 bucks. Alex Lindsay, who's a buddy of ours, who he basically lives and breathes video technology on all levels. He's got like a 4K camera in his garage.
Well,
I exaggerate slightly, but
I'm gonna have to visit.
Alex Lindsay loves them. Bertman Roy loves them. Our producer has sent a few as presents over the years, and all the recipients seem pretty happy with the performance. There are complaints among the professional art community that the nibs, it's the end of the pen that makes contact with the pad on all of Wacom's Intuos and Bamboo lines, they wear out prematurely, leaving uneven patterns when using it. Since Wacom makes no replacement nibs for the Bamboo, you need to buy a new pen for about 30 bucks. So if the 11-year-old is like grinding on the screen for 8 hours a day, that could be an issue. But man, for 7,200 bucks,
sounds like a good recommendation.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much the only one I would go with there. I can't think of anything even remotely as cool for the money. That would be one happy 11-year-old.
I think it'd be great. Start them off cheap. You never know. Yeah. They might look at it and go, "I'd rather have my pen back," and then you'd be out 70 bucks. Or
Give me my mouse. Hey, in response to last week's questions about recovering data from accidentally formatted drives, Brian sent in a very helpful tip. Brian says, I had the same issue of formatting a drive with pictures on it, not once, but twice. Ouch, dude. For personal experience, I would use a software called Handy Recovery 4.0. Brian spent about 18 hours straight in installing 6 to 10 applications before finding Handy Recovery. Like I said, it saved my
keister
twice, and my father-in-law's
keister
once for the same problem. This application will let you install the software, scan the drive, and see the pictures without paying a dime. Then, once you see what files you can recover, the cost is very minimal, 100 bucks. And yes, I have learned my lesson. I back up quite often now. Brian in Toledo, Ohio.
Ouch. Lesson learned.
Twice. I'm gonna go back up everything tonight, like a third time.
I want another NAS to back up my NAS.
We should swap NASs.
Exactly.
Actually, Stanley Andrew and Alameda are pretty close.
Data link.
Who's in Phoenix?
Anyway. Hey, and Rune from Norway sent us this suggestion. Back in the days, I started to format my main stuff drive, NTFS, by accident. I canceled the format in Windows and started to look for applications to save my data. I found Get Data Back. It worked like a charm, and I got everything back. I've used it a couple of times later with friends' drives. It shows a slightly messy file tree, but it shouldn't be too hard to use, and it simply works. Powerful this application is. My Yoda voice is weak today. Signed, Rune in Norway.
I actually did mention Get Data Back.
Cool.
Our buddy Scott He does hard drive recovery. Actually, is a huge fan of Get Data Back. I highly recommend that one.
I like a tool that allows you to try it to see if it's going to do anything for you first before you have to shell out the cash.
Well, yeah.
No, that's what that was, I think.
No, it's the one before that.
Oh, never mind.
Anyway, we want to thank everybody for the suggestions. Another one somebody emailed in was Puppy Linux booting off the disk. That sometimes will let you see a drive, the contents of a drive that otherwise is inaccessible. Look, people, once burned, twice shy. Back up your data today.
Twice. 3 times.
Back up
More.
a copy of your data, take it to a friend's house. Finally, Frederick writes in with this email. Rob, you want to grab this one?
Sure. Hello, Veronica. Your partner in crime, Robert Heron, said that in the last episode that the system recovery images can be found on most computer manufacturers' websites for download. I'm not aware of any manufacturer that has any recovery images available for download on their website, but for purchase on a CD or DVD. Could you give out the details of the information that he gave out? Thanks. And by the way, you and Patrick and the rest of the gang are doing a great job. Signed, Frederick. Frederick, you are absolutely right. I saw the link for the recovery discs, and I didn't realize it was a purchase link and not a download link. And that was my bad. And I was looking at a major manufacturer's site when I had that thought cross my mind. Nothing beats a genuine OS disk, or at least the OS files on that bootable USB key. It's just a wonderful, wonderful thing. Even Microsoft provides a great tool to put the for Windows at least, to put the operating system files on a bootable USB key. I'm pretty sure it's Microsoft provides this tool. Anyway, it just makes it so much faster than reading off of a disk. It is phenomenal. So do a Google search for that, and you will find how to install your OS via USB key.
If you're looking through checkboxes when you're buying a PC and you have like this $10 charge to get the operating system, get the operating system.
That, and if you have a technically savvy cohort that can help you out, doing a clean install on a manufacturer system just removes all that bloatware and crapware that you probably didn't want anyway. And it's nice to start clean, but not everyone can do that, and I understand.
Most of us take clean water for granted. Grab a glass, put it under the faucet, turn on the tap, drink safely. No worries about walking to the next village to pick up the day's supply of H2O, catching a nasty disease, or poisoning your child. Clean water, people, is one of the scarcest resources in the world, and nearly 1 billion people don't have access to it. The crew here at Revision 3 wanted to make a difference this holiday season, so we partnered up with Charity Water. Charity Water donates 100% of the money it raises to build wells and bring clean water to communities in need. They're leveraging technology and really creative ways to mobilize people around the cause. I've donated, and we'd love to have you, our viewers, involved. They say $20 can bring clean water to a person for 20 years. I think that's a pretty good deal.
Every show in Revision 3 is reaching out to viewers to raise money to build wells. It takes $5,000 to build a well that can provide clean water to an entire village. We need your help to make a difference. Please go to revision3.com/charitywater to learn more and get involved for the cause.
Hey, everybody out there watching, we live on your questions, so email us, techzilla@revision3.com. Tech help, product reviews, how-tos. You ask us, we'll do it, but we need those emails, so don't be shy. Send them into techzilla@revision3.com.
Hey, even better, send us a video question. Yeah, think of all the fun you can have and the admiration of all your friends and family when they see your mug on our show. Yeah, just keep it to 15 seconds or less and upload it to YouTube and send us the link in an email with video question in the subject line. And as always, you can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/TechZilla. Thanks so much for watching.
I'm Patrick Norton.
And I'm Robert Heron.
Until next time, you've been watching TechZilla. Clip your capture. Who could ask for anything more? 3, 2. Coming up on TechZilla, this is your HDTV.
HDTV. Does your HDTV need a yellow pixel?
Do you have speed?
Hey, whether you're a beginner or tech support for your friends and family, if you've got a question about tech or the blast.
Hey, you got a favorite VoIP partner product to get in 3, 2.
From the creators of National Tremor. From the creators of National Treasure, we've got Nicolas Cage as a modern-day sorcerer. Yeah. From the creators of National Treasure, why do I want to say a Nicolas Cage? From the creators of National Treasure, we've got Nicolas Cage as a modern-day sorcerer who takes on a protege and mentors him in the ways of magic, of the magical.